Hi Flosstubers! This is Katie the Stash Queen coming to you with my very first Flosstube video. Yay! I'm so excited about joining the Flosstube community. I have been an avid blogger for my cross stitch for a while now. I will put a link to my blog below in the comments. It's just a little stitchin'. I love being able to keep track of my projects there, and the followers there are great, and I've had a wonderful time with getting to know all of them. I learned about Flosstube when I joined Stitch Mania. I've heard a little bit about it here and there, off and on, in a lot of the Facebook groups that I am a part of for a while now. But really, Stitch Mania is what really got me into watching the Flosstube community on an avid basis. And my good friend Coffee Stitcher, who lives on the other side of the Metroplex from me, and one day we are going to take over all of the DFW cross-stitch LNSs, come hell or high water, and end it with hibachi afterwards. But he's really the one that really pushed me to go ahead and do this, and I'm really excited to get to join in. As I said, my name is Katie. I'm 35 years old. I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex on the other side from where Coffee Stitcher lives. I have been cross-stitching off and on for plus or minus 20 years or so, give or take. My aunt is the one who taught me how to cross-stitch. She was making stockings for her and her husband at the time, and I absolutely fell in love with it. And she sat me down and she started me with the stamped cross stitch, and that is just not for me. Wasn't then, isn't now, won't ever be again. And then she taught me how to do regular counted cross stitch, and I've loved it ever since. I've gone in phases with my stitching. I'll stitch for a while, and then I would stop for a while, and it kind of started, you know, when you start as a kid, that makes a lot of sense between school and moving off to college and life happening. But I really started getting actively daily stitching again at the beginning of this year, and I absolutely love it. And that's after taking maybe about a 6-month break or so. I have been married for 13 years to my wonderful husband, Paul. You'll probably hear me talking about him now and again. He is a marathoner, currently training for an Ironman, and he's kind of crazy in that regard, but you know, he's got his hobby and I have mine, and it works for us, so great. We have 2 wonderful children. Teresa is 9 and David is 5. They're both redheads. They both are curly redheads, and you know, they fit the stereotype of redheads to a T, and I love them dearly. They'll probably come in from time to time. I told them that I was making this video today, and they asked if they could be a part of it, and I said, not this time, maybe next time. Let me get used to this whole Flosstube thing first. I am primarily on Facebook besides my blog. The 2 groups that I am most active in are the Stitch Mania group, hi maniacs, and the For the Love of Cross Stitch. I'm also a member of a lot of the different designer groups, Joan Elliott, Heaven and Earth Designs, Papillion Stitchery, all sorts of different groups that are done by the different designers, and I really love those because it's fun to be able to see specific subjects and specific designers, and it's really fun also when those designers actually get involved with the stitching community that is helping them out. I am a stashaholic. Anyone who knows me in Stitch Mania in the Facebook group knows very well that I have a big stash of a lot of stuff, which is why I'm the Stash Queen. I love hand-dyed fabrics. I love hand-dyed flosses. I'm getting into more of the different designers with some of the patterns that I am branching out and stitching lately. I really, I hope I'm looking right. Yeah, I think I'm looking right. I love collecting patterns. I probably have more patterns than I will ever possibly stitch in my lifetime, but that's okay. Whoever dies with the most stash wins. So stash videos are gonna come in phases because I have a lot. I am also a serial starter. One of the things you're going to see today are my whips, which is pretty standard, right? I've got 59 whips. 59 active whips. How do I do that, you ask? Well, I'm a stay-at-home mom, and you know, I love my children. We have lots of fun together, but I have freedom to stitch at various times during the day, and I do a daily rotation. Generally, there are sometimes I make an exception, but it's a daily rotation, alphabetical order. Again, with a couple of exceptions, that I just go through and I stitch on a project for a day, and then I put it down, and the next day I pick up another project, and it helps keep me interested. It helps keep me not getting bored, but you know, when sometimes the mood to start something strikes and you just got to get into it. I'm doing pretty good for right now. I have a start coming up in October with a stitch along with the Stitch Maniacs for the Raven Queen, who I am calling Regina because she looks exactly like Regina Mills from Once Upon a Time. But yeah, I started 35 to mark my 35th birthday in the month of May for Stitch Mania. I have a problem, and that's okay. You all probably share that problem too in some capacity whatsoever. So that's a little bit about me. I know there are a lot of tags and stuff out there, and I figure after I get this first video or 2 or 3 under my belt that I can start digging into some of those tags and answering some of those questions. But if there's any questions that you specifically have for me that you want me to answer, feel free to ask them in the comments. I hope you enjoy and subscribe and tell all your friends. I'm currently actually in my what will be my mom cave. It is currently a room right now kind of just full of stuff that we did ever put anywhere when we moved into this house. And when we decided we were done having kids, we decided this room could be mine. And I've got back here behind me a lot of my stash and a lot of piles of stuff that need to be put in various places. But we'll get into all of that later on. I also apologize now, 7.5 minutes into this video. I talk fast. Even though I was born and raised in Texas, yes, I'm a Texas girl through and through, I was in speech and debate in high school. And in speech and debate, you had to learn how to make very concise arguments very quickly. And you had to be able to speak and get them out in 2 or 3 or 4 minutes when you are rebutting something that came across in 7 or 8 or 9 minutes. So I've never really broken that habit. I try to be conscious of how fast I'm talking. I apologize in advance if I start getting a little bit rapid fire. So today I thought after an introduction I could show you some haul that I got recently. You'll see a lot of haul videos. I'm members of Fabric of the Month clubs and Threads of the Month clubs, and I buy stash. You're gonna see it. But I was gonna show what had just come in over the past couple of days. I have some old finished projects that aren't FFOs yet, but are done and just need to be made into FFOs. And then I was going to show all of my whips, no, not in alphabetical order, simply because they are in a tub right next to me, a big, huge Sterilite 18-gallon tub, to be precise. So we're kind of going to pull out and show you guys what I've got going on. So let's get started. First with the haul that came in. Like I said, I'm a member of a couple of Fabric of the Month clubs. One is Under the Sea Fabrics. Leslie is great. I love her stuff. I use a lot of her Belfast linen for a lot of my projects. And the other one is Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie, who's also absolutely phenomenal. I've been a member of other Fabric of the Month clubs off and on over the years, but these two have been the ones that I've been most consistently a member of. So I got, so far this week, I don't buy fabric unless there is a sale, because I'm a member of the Fabric of the Month club, and because I have such a huge stash already. You know, I get 2 pieces of fabric a month already. sometimes more when you throw in Stitchy Box and whatever other subscriptions I've got going on. But when there's a sale, I buy, because A, it's a sale, duh, and B, you know, there are some colors that either I missed when I wasn't doing the fabric of the month, or I really, really like and want to have another piece of for another project, or, you know, I just need more of that color in my stash. So this week, both of the fabric of the months for both Under the Sea and Steph's fabrics came in, plus the sale order that I did for Stephanie's last sale came in. I will make a little comment right here that Under the Sea Fabrics is currently having a sale until July 5th. UnderTheSeaFabrics.com. I'll try to remember to put a link down in the bottom. But she's having her annual Leon Day sale. So if you go and put Leon with a capital L, L-E-O-N, capital D-A-Y, 2015, I believe is what it is, in the coupons, you would get, I think it's 15% off, but I can look and I can put it in the comments. So without further ado, this is the fabric of the month from Under the Sea Fabrics. It is a 32 Belfast linen called Yorick. It's really pretty. Let's see if we can see all this pretty well okay over here. I think you can see some of it okay. But what it was, it's this really cool fabric that it has a pastel base, and then it had a gray undertone put in behind it, which I think is really pretty. I will also say, while I'm folding this piece back up, that I don't buy fabric with projects in mind 99% of the time. Because of the stash that I have, I will go through my stash and find a piece of fabric that will work, which gives a lot of freedom for buying fabrics, because I'm not as worried about, oh my gosh, is this piece going to work for this or whatnot, so, which is pretty cool. Under this, and then here is, this is the fabric of the month from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie for this month. It is a 28 Jobelin. It's called Fruit Punch, and I love this piece of fabric. See that? Okay. I'm kind of doing this in a room where there's a little bit of shadow and a little bit of light, and I'm hoping that this is going to be okay. But this is a really pretty fabric, and I'm actually, let me move this. Sorry. Maybe give a little bit better light. But this is a really pretty fabric that I'm actually thinking about using as one of the potential background options for the Raven Queen by Mirabilia. And then here are the sale fabrics that I bought from Stephanie. This one is Simply Sage. It's a 32 Jobelin. You will quickly learn that 32 and 28 Jobelin are my favorite kinds of fabric to work with. That's what the majority of my pieces are on. I also like the Belfast, but those are the two that I typically have the most of in my stash. This is a 28 Jobelin in Ice Goddess. It's pretty blues. I think that looks okay, yeah. And then I have a Hocus Pocus in 32 Jobelin. They're pretty mottled purple. Blue and purple are my favorite colors too, so I have a lot of those colors in my stash. But that's okay. It works with pretty much the stuff that I choose to have it work with. And then I have, told you, I buy when there's a sale. This is Raspberry Lemonade in a 32 Jobelin. And this is really pretty too. I like this one a lot. It's got the pinks and yellows and oranges, and it's just really pretty. And then I've got, this is Isolde in 32 Jobelin, which I've had a couple of pieces of Isolde already, and I love it, and I keep using it, and so I keep ordering it. Pretty purple and pinkish one. This one isn't as modeled or as variegated, or however, whatever term you want to use it when it comes to fabric, as some of my previous pieces, but I still think it's gorgeous. Anyway, and then I have, this is Chocolate Milk, which is one of her very popular colors. It's a very pretty brown that can work like as a neutral with just about anything, really. And then, oh my goodness, we're 15 minutes in already. Ah! And I talk fast. Huh. And then this is Pandora in a 32 Jovelin, which is another really pretty purpley fabric that I like. So yes, that was my fabric haul. You won't typically see that many fabrics in a month. It's usually, like I said, 1 or 2. But when my sale from Under the Sea comes in, there'll be more then. I also got in the last remaining thread that I was waiting on for my chatelaine that you're going to see in a little while. This is from the Thread Gatherer. It's a silken pearl. It's in vintage brown. It's really pretty brown and black shades. Very pretty. And then I also, from Under the Sea Fabrics, I used her this time. I buy a lot of my patterns and stuff from 123 Stitch, from my LNS, from Etsy, from all sorts of different places. But as anyone who likes Mirabilias know, they come out on the 15th of every month, and a lot of the different sellers will get packs and will get the pattern and will offer the bead packs and specialty threads and all of that fun sort of thing. And I've used them sometimes. I've gone back and forth between which ones I used. This time I went ahead and used Leslie from Under the Sea Fabrics to go ahead and get everything but the DMC that I need for the Raven Queen, which I will be starting as part of the Stitch Along with Stitch Mania in October, even though I really, really, really want to start her now. She's beautiful, but I want to try to get less than 59 whips at a time. We'll see how this works. But here's the pattern in case you guys haven't seen it, and it's the Raven Queen. Isn't she pretty? So there's that. And then it came with the specialty threads, or not threads, the beads, all the different beads that she's going to use. And then the specialty threads, which are some Krynic. We've got the cable, which I've never used before, the gold cable. And then we've got 11 millimeters of 92 and 94. And then we've got another very fine braid, and then another very fine braid. And then you've got the water lilies, which I have water lilies in with my chatelaine, and haven't used them yet, but I'm very excited to. This one is Monsoon. This one is Periwinkle, really pretty. And then this one is Midnight. I really want to start her. Like, really, really want to start her. But I'm being good, and I'm waiting. I'm not starting her yet. So that is the haul that I've gotten this week. I figure haul videos will be a pretty regular occurrence here. Next, I was going to show you some old completed projects of mine. And I really hope I'm looking in the right place for this. I can't really tell, but oh well. So here is my box of completed stuff that I need to finish up somehow. First one is one that Stitch Maniacs will have seen. It is my most recent finish. And it was one of my Stitch Mania starts, actually. And it's called Floss Daily. And of course, it looks like it's showing up in reverse in the camera, but oh well. Maybe it'll be better later. But it's done on Harvest Pumpkin by Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. And then I substituted all of the flosses, except for the whites, for different variegated flosses from Mo's Sale. And I am an avid Mo's Sale collector. I use a lot of her stuff in a lot of my pieces. The pattern is Floss Daily by Wee Little Stitches on Etsy. It was a really quick stitch, and I really enjoyed it. And my plan is to frame it and put it somewhere prominent here in my mom cave, when it actually is my mom cave, because it's a reminder that we all need to floss daily. Dr. Pepper, drink of choice, usually. Yay! Here is my another one that I completed this year. In April, I participated in the A to Z blog challenge, which is not just a stitching challenge. It is a challenge for bloggers to go every day in the month of April, except the Sundays, and do a different letter, a post with a different letter of the alphabet every day. So most bloggers who actually write more than just stitch, like, picked a theme, like flowers or book heroines or, you know, authors or vampire characteristics or whatever they wanted to pick, and they wrote a different post every day for the letter for the day. I, as a stitcher, found this on another one of my the blogs that I follow, and I decided to do an alphabet sampler, and it was a blast. I had a lot of fun with it. I plan on doing it again next year, and instead of it just being, you know, here's my letter A, I have nothing else to post about, I did it, the sampler that I did is the Once Upon a Time alphabet sampler from Fangirl Stitches on Etsy, and it's all characters from one of my favorite television shows, Once Upon a Time. So here is my sampler. So every day I stitched a different one of the letters and the characters, and I'd make the post about that character so that, you know, people who didn't watch the show could get a hold of the characters and know who I was talking about in some of these pictures. It was a lot of fun. It was stressful though, because as you can see again here, let me show you. There are some days where if you watch the show, you know that it's based on fairy tale characters, a lot of them Disney-fied, who are brought into the real world by a curse, and so they have a storybook version of themselves and a real world version of themselves. And so a lot of them, the stitching had both versions of a character in it, and that made it a little bit challenging sometimes. I do plan on doing this again next April. I've already started looking for the samplers. What I will probably do, and what I've seen a lot of the other stitchers who did this challenge talk about, is start it a little bit early and then make the posts every day in April, but still start it a little bit early so that we're not frantically stitching, because that got kind of tiring at the end of the day. Next one that I have, this is, I'm sure most everyone's familiar with, the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. This is the Once Upon a Time 2004, last year's annual sampler that I completed. Yay! I did this on Sunset from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie, and I substituted everything but the white and the black. I'll show it again. The white and the black and the skin tones for flosses from Mo's sale. So everything in here was substituted. I'm really proud of this piece. I stopped it for a while when I kind of went into a hiatus last year, so I had to finish it this year, but I finished it before the new one started. My daughter has already claimed this and wants a nice, pretty, fancy frame for it to go into her room somewhere, and I'm sure it will at some point. I'm great at doing projects. I'm not so great at finishing them. It's just the way it is. This one, let me find this one in here. I think this one's it. Speaking of Christmas ornaments, this is one I completed last year. It's a Christmas ornament. It's from the Just Crossworks or Just Cross Stitch magazine. It's the Celtic ornament from the Sunflower Seed. Celtic Christmas ornament number 4 from the Sunflower Seed. Use it Gentle Arts threads, Rainbow Gallery treasure braid, and DMC. It was really quick to stitch this up on antique linen. It's really pretty. I just need to finish it. Maybe I'll do that this year. And then this is, let me get this next two out. Let's see if I'm, sorry, should have had this all better prepared, but I didn't. These two are my first 2 forays into beading, and I fell in love with beading doing these pieces. This first one, people who are friends with me on Facebook might recognize this from my cover photo, but that one is Winter Flowers No, actually, no, that one's not Winter Flowers. Sorry. This one is Garden of Joy from Turquoise Graphics and Designs. And then this one is Winter Flowers, also by Turquoise Graphics and Designs. See, isn't it pretty? All those beads. I loved it. It was awesome to work on. And I really want to finish these into some really pretty ornaments. I just don't know if I want to keep them as only Christmas ornaments or if I want to try to figure out a way so I can display them all year round, because they're really not Christmassy and they're really, really pretty. And I've got a couple other ones in here that I have finished. I've got the Tribal Penguin, because I collect penguins and I love penguins, from White Willow Stitching that I did a while ago. And then I have this one that's called Witch's Brew from Victoria Motto Sampler Shop that I won this piece, or won the pattern, and hopefully it's showing reverse on here, but we'll see. But it was very cute. I liked doing that one a lot. And then I have one that I found. I don't even know when I completed this piece, but I completed it a long, long time ago. This pretty little angel. But I need to figure out how to do something with. We'll see what happens. I have lots of other completed pieces that I've done. At Christmas time, you guys will get to see the Christmas stockings that I have made for me and my husband and my kids. And I've got a couple other Christmassy ones that I've completed. I spent some time making pieces for the World of Charity Stitching, so there's some quilts out there that have my contributions to them. And I did for the gifts that I gave my bridesmaids and my mom and my mother-in-law for when I got married, were all cross stitch, and so those are all in various places. So now, whips. I'll start with the one that I'm working on right now. This is the Faces of Joan Elliott Stitch Along. And I am a hoop user. I don't use Q-snaps. I don't use frames. I don't stitch in hand. I use a hoop. Always have, always will. This is an exception to my once a day or daily rotation rule. I'm sure most people in the Flosstube community have heard by now, but Joan Elliott, who is absolutely one of my favorite designers ever, was in a really bad car wreck. Broken collarbone, collapsed lung, lots of bad stuff. She posted, I think it was either yesterday or today, that she's back home and she's recovering, and of course she's going to be out of commission for a while. But the Stitch Maniacs are having a stitch along this weekend, kind of like a get well Joan Elliott stitch along, and we're all working on Joan Elliott pieces. And this one is already in my weekly rotation, so I've just kept working on it this week. But yeah, I've done this one is on Aphrodite from Under the Sea Fabrics. I think it's 28. I have the little card right here. Both the requested DMC, I've done the frames and the border, and this is the upper corner that I'm working on right now. And then the rest of these, gird your loins, clutch your pearls. It's going to be just haphazard, and I apologize in advance because I am going to have to be digging for stuff to pull out to show you guys. Okay, this one is European Bistro from the Dimensions Gold Collection. I'll show you guys a picture of it. It's a really pretty piece. I really, really like it. And this is where I am on it right now. It's very pretty. I love Europe. I spent a semester in Italy when I was in college. The college that I went to has a campus like 20 miles outside of Rome, and so half the sophomore class goes in the fall, half the sophomore class goes in the spring, and it's a fantastic experience, and I love Europe and I love Italy, and if I could go back and live there for forever, I would. Next is Elf's Garden, which is by, sorry, I told you I was going to be grabbing for stuff, which is from Soda Garden, who is another one of my favorite designers. I just love their stuff. They're a lot of fun. They are a Asian company, but I love their patterns. They're whimsical, they're fun. I have several of them in my stash. But this is Elf's Garden. It's got 4 little elf fairy sprite things for spring, summer, fall, and winter. And so far, this is where I am on it. I'm doing this on Wildflowers in Belfast from Under the Sea fabrics. Really pretty colors. This is where I am on it so far. This is summer. I worked on it. And then I've got, I'm just throwing it all over here. I'll clean it up when I'm done talking to you guys. This is Italian Vista from from Dimensions Gold Collection. Oops. It's another one of those pretty Italian landscapes that I've been working on off and on for a while. And this is where I am on that one so far. I figure, talking out loud while I'm doing this, because I do a daily rotation, every Sunday I go through and figure out what my whips for the week are going to be. So I figure what I will do with you guys is I will every Sunday pull out my whips for the week and also do a week in a review, so you guys can see which whips I'm going to, the starting point of the whips that I'm going to be working on for the following week, and where I ended up stopping the whips for the past week. This one is Flames of Desire by Leanne Seed for Heaven and Earth Designs. Really gorgeous. Now this one has a story behind it. I've started working on this one, hated the fabric I had chosen for it, got really frustrated with the stitches. It was my first Haid. I scrapped it, I started it over. Now, it's on really powerful fabric. And I know it's on really powerful fabric. This is Mayan Apocalypse from Under the Sea Fabrics. And I love it. Now I know that some people will say, well, doesn't the red get lost in the red? But really, if you look at it closely, as I think you guys can see, it doesn't really get lost in the fabric too much. And when you look at the entire piece, it's not going to melt into the fabric. It's going to be just this really gorgeous, like fiery background that I love, 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 love. And then I've got a couple of Haids in my stash. This one is Fibery Friends sampler from the Frosted Pumpkin. One of the few Frosted Pumpkins I actually have printed out in one of their leaflets. And here we are. The ones that I remember what the fabrics are and stuff, I'm telling you guys what they are, but I figure for a basic whip introduction, if I don't tell you, you can ask or you can wait till it comes up as a whip. Because when I focus on the whips for the week, I can tell you guys a lot more of the specifics, like what threads I'm using and what substitutions and changes I made and what fabrics I'm using. But you will quickly notice that I use a lot of hand-dyed fabrics. Pretty much the only time I use Ada is when it comes in a kit. But I use a lot of hand-dyed fabrics, a lot. This is Fall Fairy from the Dimensions Gold Collection. I also am a very big fan of fairies, in case that wasn't becoming very obvious already. Fairies, Europe, Italy, whimsical, fun, colorful. I'm not a big primitive fan. I have some primitive patterns or primitive-ish patterns in my stash, but I'm not a big primitive fan. But this is where I have gotten on her so far. I love the colors on her. It's really pretty autumn shades. Really, really pretty. So there's that. Now most of these are supposed to be my whips for the week this week, and I would have worked on all of them this week until the Joan Elliott thing happened. And then when that happened, and we decided we were doing the stitch along, it was like the next day that I was supposed to start working on my Faces of Joan Elliott stitch along sampler. So I just said, screw it, this is one of those times I don't do a different pattern every day, and I went from there. Okay, rest of these are being pulled from the really big box of whips. I apologize in advance. I'm not even gonna bother. If the picture of the pattern is right, easily accessible, I'll show it. If it's not, you're just gonna have to wait until it comes back up in the whips, because let me show you why. This is my binder patterns. And there are some that are easy that I can quickly get to, but then there's lots of things like my Haids and all that that aren't as easy to get to, and or maybe just the pattern or whatever. So I apologize in advance if you don't see a before picture or what the piece is supposed to look like. You will eventually, I promise. Okay, this one, let's go first. I think of Coffee Stitcher every time I pull out this piece, and he's gonna know why. This is my Anne of Green Gables from Soda Stitch. Got working on Anne and the bosom buddies. I love this piece. I am an Anne of Green Gables fan, and now that I have a redheaded daughter too, it's even more fun. I started this piece actually the day that it was announced that Jonathan Crombie, who played Gilbert Blythe in the movies, had passed away, and he was my first big fictional crush. And so I started that piece kind of in homage of him, and it's a lot of fun to stitch it. Soda Stitch pieces are, like I said, great. You'll hear me repeat that a lot. Ooh, my chatelaine. This is the Medieval Town Mandala from Chatelaine that I am working on. And like I said, you guys will see the big pictures and all that for all of these pieces as they come up for whips for the week. It's just too much to pull out 59 patterns and stuff right now. But this is my first chatelaine. I loved the one day that I worked on it so far. I started it as part of Stitch Mania. And Garrett and I are already planning on a stitch along for our next ones for next year. So that's where I got to when I started it, right there in the middle. And it's really pretty. And look at all this. Look, it's my threads and my beads. Woo! I like the bling. The bling is cool. And this calls for Delicas instead of Mill Hills, which I've never used Delicas before, and a lot of different floss brands that I've never used before. So it's really exciting to be able to explore that sort of thing here in this piece. Then we have Angel of Cross Stitch by Joan Elliott. This is her famous angel that has every color of DMC, or had every color of DMC as it was available at the time that it was created. 350 colors or something like that. And this is where I'm at with her so far. It's kind of hard to see right now, but it's a lot of white in her skirt down there at the bottom. And this one is Butterfly Rose Garden, or Butterfly Rose Cross, excuse me, from Heaven and Earth Designs. This one is going to be one of my wine and whips for July for Stitch Mania. Doesn't have a whole lot to show for it right now, except blue background. And look, it's blue background. But it's going to be a gorgeous, beautiful cross when it's done. I started this before I was really familiar with a lot of hand-dyed fabrics. If I started it now, I would have paid for the background to be removed and just stitched the cross and the flowers and the butterflies and all that stuff, and not the background. But, oh well. Lesson learned. This one is Angel of Compassion, which is another one of my Hades, my third Hade. And again, this is primarily background for now, but she's this really pretty angel. And this piece, don't know if you can tell really well, all that white, it's Krynic. Krynic, 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 Krynic. This piece calls for like 20 skeins of Krynic for the background. And it's crazy. And this is going to be another one of my wine and whips. This one is Rainbow Parfait from Glendon Place. It's part of the whole dessert mandala collection. I have all of the dessert mandalas. There are 3 of them in my rotation currently. But this is Rainbow Parfait. Get it out here. That's where I got on it when I stitched it last. It's got all the dinky dies, which I hadn't really used before I started doing these mandalas, and I have a lot of people have complained about how easily the dinky dye seems to knot up. I haven't had any problems with it yet, knock on wood, and I love the colors and I love the feel. So, okay. This one is Pinup Girls, which is another Soda Stitch, whose theme is, yes, Pinup Girls. That's all I've gotten on it so far. Not much. And like someone in another group said, it kind of looks like she's a scorpion so far, but that's the hair of one of the middle girls. It's not a scorpion. I don't like scorpions. Remind me to tell you the story sometime about scorpions in Assisi when we were in Italy. This one is Butterfly Fairy from Joan Elliott, another one of my favorites. Made a lot of progress on her lately, and I'm happy with that. See, isn't she pretty? All of that skin on her arm is 1/1 because I'm crazy. I do 1/1 skin for my Joan Elliott's and my Mirabilias because I do. I'm not entirely sure why I started doing it. No, I do know why. Because I started doing a different one of the fairies that you'll see in a little while, and I was doing just the standard 2/2 for the skin, and it just didn't look right. And I think I'd seen so many of people doing 1/1 on the groups that I just said, hey, it's 1/1. Oh my gosh, 40 minutes. I should be going faster. This is the Zodiac Sampler Stitch Along, the Walking Through the Stars Zodiac Sampler Stitch Along from Clouds Factory. It's their annual sampler that they give out every month, and I'm up to date on it. This is another one of the pieces that I am doing, substituting Mo's flosses and that for on there. And I'm doing this on, oh, what fabric am I doing this on? It's one, Black Magic, I think is what it's called, from Under the Sea Fabrics. It's gorgeous. I love it. See, isn't it pretty? Whee! Really, really pretty wine red, which I know some people have ordered it, seeing my pieces, and it hasn't come out exactly the same. I don't know why. I had this piece for a while. It needed, and I was just hoarding it until I could find the perfect piece for it, and this one just fits. This one is Victorian Lady by Joan Elliott. I have all of her ladies, the Medieval Maiden, the Victorian Lady, the Edwardian Lady, in my stat, or in my rotation. There's only one that I didn't have, but I have it in my stat. That's where I got it with her so far. And I know I'm kind of just rushing through it, but I'm not wanting to bore you guys too much, and this is already 42 minutes in. Huh. Okay, this is Beauty and the Beast Falling in Love from the Disney Dreams collection. And this is where I am on it thus far. I'm really enjoying working on that one, though I think I'm going to start moving over to finish the next half of the castle here, not too long, whenever it comes back up in the rotation. This is the American Flag Quilt Sampler by Rosewood Manor. Love this piece. This is one of the more primitive pieces that I'm not usually a huge primitive fan, but I do love this piece, and I have plans for what I'm going to do with it when it's done. But it's every state in the Union will have its own little quilt flag piece. The 13 original colonies are all in the blue section, and then the rest of them are throughout here. It's a big piece. See, look how big this fabric is. Huge! But that's where I've gotten so far. And I really love it because each little square is like a little mini finish. And it's great. Let's see. This one is, I'm a member of a couple of different Pattern of the Month clubs from Carolyn Manning Designs. I have known Carolyn since before she had Carolyn Manning Designs. We met on a writing website that we were both a member of, and we became really good friends, and she's awesome. I've known her for a long time now, but she's really, really sweet. But this is one of her club pieces. It's the March 2015 Sampler Motif Club that I'm stitching, and I'm using Caesar thread from Mo's Sale for it. And I thought I had a plan for this, for using it as a background for my Needle Minder collection, but my Needle Minder collection is getting a little bit out of control. So I'm not sure if this is going to be big enough yet, but I'll figure out something for it. The other annual sampler that I'm working on is the Storytime Sampler from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. And I'm up to date on that. If you're a member of the Frosted Pumpkin group, you will know that I get this and then I finish it in one day, because that's just what I do. So, but here is where we are so far, and I've got all the frames done, and I've got all the months done so far. And this is another piece where I substituted out the flosses for Mo's Sale. I do that a lot. She's really cool. If you like variegated threads, highly variegated threads, and some other stuff in inexpensive prices, it's great. This is my oldest whip that I started in college, lost and found, but this is All Things Noah from Dimensions. It's a really cute Debbie Mum kit. I don't know what I did with it, but I found it when I moved into this house, and I've lived in 3 or 4 other places since I last saw this, but this one's almost done. When I got it back, I had just done these motifs, so I had to finish the turtle and the giraffe and do all this back side. It's almost done. And I have had a few of my friends in the Stitch Mania group lament that I haven't just continued to finish this piece, but daily rotation, that's what I do. This one is from Little House Needleworks. It's the bookshelf, which is really cute. Got some of my favorite authors on it. And I haven't gotten very far in it, but it's a start. See? It's a start. A start is better than nothing. Even if I can only get a couple stitches in the course of the day, I try to get that couple of stitches in. Stardust Fairy, another Joan Elliott. This one's free on the DMC website if you're interested. Haven't done a whole lot on her yet either, but it's another start. See? Pretty. Oh, da da da. The biggest. This one's really appropriate for me. This one is called The Biggest Stash, and it does say on the pattern, whoever has the most stash wins, or something along those lines. Stash Queen. Appropriate. That's what I've done so far. Told you, 59 whips. There's a lot in this box. This is the Princess Collection from Soda Stitch. Your very traditional princesses. I bet you can figure out which princess this is. It's Ariel. Another Soda Stitch. This one's called the World's Postage Stamp. This one's a little bit different than some of the other patterns, but I liked it because it had a lot of places that I had been to before. And where I hadn't been to, I want to go to. So this is where I got to, started with Sydney, which is one of the places that I have not been to yet, but want to go to. This one is Rapunzel by Joan Elliott. Told you, she's one of my favorite designers. I've got a lot of her pieces in my rotation. And this is where I am with her at this point. She's got a lot of beautiful colorings in her. I just love her. The Sugar is Sweet sampler, which is also from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. This one I'm changing up all the colors on, a la the Storytime sampler in Once Upon a Time. And doing this with most sale flosses, and this is all where I've gotten so far with it. So, but I'm doing this bright and happy and shimmery and sugary and sweet and just fun. Miss Valentine by Mirabilia. Yes, I'm doing this on a pink fabric, the Pink Fairy on pink fabric, because I want to and because I like it. I did not like the linen that it came with. Let's see here. Yes. In a minute. Told you. Kids interrupting. This one is Letters from Nora Cobert, the letter T for my daughter, Teresa. No, Coffee Stitcher. This is not a green uterus. Which is what, oops, that's the back. Which is what he said when he first saw this, that he thought it was a green uterus. No, it's a stylized T. Which is really pretty when it's done with the fairy, and yeah. Thanks, Coffee Stitcher. Let's Do Wine by Ursula Michael. This one's just a fun one. I like my wine. This is where I got to it so far. It's just a fun one. Oh my goodness. I'm even overwhelming myself here. Can I make an hour? We'll see. This one is the Quaker Diamonds by Rosewood Manor. This is another one of those that is more primitive and Quaker, which I don't really generally like, but I really like this one. You should see this just pile that's building next to me. It's really quite sad. This one is Princess Leia, which I started on May the 4th. It's by Fangirl Stitches. I wasn't going to start a Star Wars project on May the 4th, but she released this on May the 4th. And just a little bit started right now. But what it's going to have is all the different Princess Leia costumes from the original trilogy in there. She's also working on one for Amidala / Padme from the first trilogy, or the prequel trilogy, I guess I should say, which I'm going to get when it comes out, because it's cool. I'm a little bit of a geek. You will learn that about me. This is Tuscan Greeting from Dimensions, just a little cute kid that I've made some massive mistakes on, but you can't tell unless you've done the pattern. Then you might be able to tell. This one is Mediterranean Flavors, which is another Dimensions kit. Told you, there's a theme. Italy, Europe, Mediterranean. This will go in my kitchen when it's done. It's about halfway done. Maybe a little more than halfway. This is another Little House Needleworks. This is Robin Hood. Robin Hood and Little John Martin. Sorry. All I've got so far is Sherwood. And let's see. This one is St. Peter's, because I am Catholic, so St. Peter's has a lot of religious significance for me, but it's also just a stunningly beautiful piece of art and architecture that if you ever get a chance to go visit St. Peter's, you need to go visit St. Peter's. This is where I've gotten to it so far. And as soon as, I forget the designer off the top of my head. That's the other reason why I'm not going into designers and fabrics and details, because when you got 59 whips, you forget them all. I have them, I keep all track of all of them in my cross stitch app, but since I'm doing this on my phone, and my cross stitch app is on my phone, I can't exactly look it up at the moment. This is Little Mermaid from the Disney Dreams collection. Haven't gotten really super far on it yet, but got a little bit of start on it. A little bit of hint of flounder there. Next one is Cinderella from Joan Elliott. Another really pretty one from her Princesses line. I've saved this fabric from another piece that I was working on, so you can see where I frogged it down there, but it'll get covered up by Cinderella's skirt. See? Next one is Christmas Elegance from Mirabilia. This is the first Mirabilia I technically started. I have a ton in my stash. And I'm telling you, 59 whips and it's barely a dent in my stash. It's just sad. This is where I've gotten with her so far. Let's see. Next up, this one is the Sweet Pea Fairy by Joan Elliott, which is the first fairy from Joan Elliott that I started, and I frogged her skin when I did it the way it was called for because I didn't like the way it looked. So I've done her skin 1/1, and it looks so much nicer. Though she doesn't have any hair yet, but I really like the way she looks so far. I think the 1/1, sorry, the 1/1 skin, I just like the way that looks so much better. It is a pain though, because it's 4 times as many stitches. The Doctor Who clock. I'm a big Doctor Who fan. I'm a Whovian. My son is a Whovian. So this clock is really for him. But this is by Cloud's Factory. This is where I've gotten to so far. And this is another one that I'm substituting for Mo's. But I'm using all silks, except for the skin, which will be one of her flosses. It's going to have all 12 doctors around it. And it's just going to look cool. Oh, I'm almost to the bottom. I promise. You thought I was just kidding when I said I had a ton of projects. I wasn't. Okay, here are a couple little Mill Hill kits that I'm working on. This one is Jeweled Apple. Come on. That's where I am on it so far. Let's see what it's gonna look like when it's ready. And this one, oh, it's finished, but I forgot that I finished. This one is Snowflakes that I just haven't cut out yet, but it's really pretty finish. And then this one is the wine glass. Told you I like my wine. It's really cool beads in the wine. It's really hot in this room. I need to really get the AC guy to come out here because I think our AC for the upstairs is just not working right. Let's see what's next. Sleeping Beauty from Joan Elliott. Barely made a start on this during Stitch Mania. It was during one of my not so great health days, but it's a start. See, there's stitches. Green stitches. And that's it. There'll be more. She'll come up again and I'll get into a kick on her because I do love Joan Elliott's pieces. This one is Mixed Berry Cheesecake, which is from Glendon Place. It's the limited edition one of the dessert mandala line because they did this one with in conjunction with Dinky Dyes to get a specific floss for it. And it's got very detailed instructions on how you do the stitches in the order and so that it comes out the color right. And it's a little crazy, but I do like it. This one is Medieval Maiden by Joan Elliott. Another one of her beautiful pieces. And here she is so far. This is the Magical Creatures calendar from Clouds Factory. I'm working on the frames. I'm almost done with the frames on this piece. And once the frames are done, then I can actually work on filling them in. But that's my thing with pieces like that. If there's a frame, I try to finish the frame first, which is probably my only complaint when it comes to the Zodiac samplers, that they only did the center frames at the beginning, so you have to do the rest of the frames the rest of the time. That's not always fun. Next one is the Spirit of Cross Stitch Angel Ornament from Brooks Books. And all I've completed so far is the little puppy that'll be attached. This is all done on perforated paper, and then it'll be cut out and put together and made into this little cool 3D ornament. It'll be pretty cool. This one is a Jim Shore by Mill Hill kit called Santa. And that's where I've gotten to him so far. I'm gonna break an hour. Hopefully this uploads because it's gonna be really disappointing if it doesn't upload. This is Plum Pudding by Glendon Place, which is the third of the 3 dessert mandalas that I'm working on at present. And it goes this way. Oh, pretty purple. I love purple. This is Dreaming of Tuscany, another one of the little Dimensions kits. So I've gotten to it so far. Tuscany's beautiful. Go if you can. I love Florence. It's awesome. Edwardian Lady by Joan Elliott. Another one of her beautiful, beautiful ladies. And I got started on doing the flowers the last time that she was up in my rotation, and just look at those gorgeous flowers. I love the colors on her. She's just beautiful. This is Stitching ABCs from Design Works, which is, you know, appropriate. Haven't gotten very far on it yet, but and I don't have cats anymore, but that's okay. There'll be a cat in the middle, and it goes A to Z of all of the different stuff related to stitching and sewing, and it's pretty cool. This is a wedding sampler that Carolyn Manning, that I talked about earlier, designed specifically for me as a wedding gift 13 years ago. Haven't finished it yet. Got started, would stop it, misplace it, not like it, screw around with it, whatever. So I'm gonna finish it This is where I am with it so far, doing the border. But I love how it's kind of she's a known designer and she made this just for me. And it was a gift and no one else has it. And that's pretty cool, if you ask me. Here's the Rose Fairy from Joan Elliott. Again, just a little start on her so far. And last two, this is Christmas Countdown. It's by Dimensions. It's an advent calendar. And I've done all of the ornaments for it already on the plastic canvas. Haven't cut them out because they're little and I would lose them if this was not already ready to go. I'm working on the actual calendar portion right now. And I'm doing the frame. The top will have Santa in his workshop, and then the bottom will have days 1 through 24 to put this stuff on. It's kind of mindless right now because it's just 3 or 4 colors and big blocks of it. But, you know, sometimes mindless stitching is helpful. Last one I'm going to show is the Skater's Village Tree Skirt from the Dimensions Gold collection. That is a gorgeous piece that goes perfectly with all of my stockings, and I cannot wait to do it, and I've been wanting to do it for years. But it's my biggest Wine and Wit piece, so it will be part of Wines and Wits with Stitch Mania. Because it's so big. I don't use a frame. This piece would make me consider getting a frame. Because this fabric is just gargantuan. I'm not even going to show how big it is right now, but I'm going to show where I've gotten so far on it. That's where we are so far. So, that's my whips. Told you I'm a serial starter. Told you I had a lot of them. But you guys will get to see all of them as I continue to work. I think that's about it today. This video has already gone over an hour. I really hope YouTube accepts this. But I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you subscribe, and I hope you tell your friends, and I am really looking forward to getting to do my next video soon and getting to see you all soon. So